already were starting.
No. Okay, I'm going to introduce you guys.
Hello. Good.
What are you guys doing?
Running ops on the deep
Running
state.
ops. They chucked him off Twitter and Periscope, so he had to fly to Australia and use mine.
Gotcha. How's Australia treating you, Kappy?
It's very nice and peaceful up here. My first night, I woke up at like 3 a.m. I went outside and I was like listening. I'm like, I can't hear anything. This is amazing. And the air is nice and moist and crisp and just beautiful. Yeah.
Last week we were on the phone together and you were composing a tweet. What did that tweet consist of?
Oh, that one. What was that? That was on about the 17th of October. And I was on the phone to you and I said, you know what, I'm going to tweet this. And I tweeted at our Prime Minister in Australia here and requested that he include the word ritual or the words ritual abuse in his apology that he was due to give on the 22nd of October. And then I was watching the speech and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he did it.
The crimes of ritual sexual abuse happened in schools, churches, youth groups, scout troops, orphanages, foster homes, sporting clubs, group homes, charities, and in family homes as well.
He included it. He said ritual sexual abuse in these, and he listed a whole bunch of institutions, organisations, including schools and churches. And the reason I'd say he said sexual abuse included that too is because the Royal Commission, the Child Abuse Royal Commission that has been going for the last 4 years or so, that the basic premise of that is sexual abuse. And so anything that you talk about, for it to be relevant to the Royal Commission, it has to include sexual abuse. So he said ritual sexual abuse because his speech was a direct response to the Royal Commission into the Federal Royal Commission into child abuse and how it was handled in institutions in Australia.
That part of his speech was a direct response to your request and asking him to put ritual sexual abuse in the speech. That was monumental. It was huge.
People don't we just last night were talking about it. We're like, do you realize what
we did?
Yeah, it's like basically saying, yeah, Pizzagate is real.
Yeah.
And the knock-on effect in the psychiatric community is going to be huge because, for years you've had these Marxist interlopers within those communities like siphoning people and be like, oh yeah, that didn't happen. That's a false memory. But now it's like, okay, yeah, that happened. So now all these victims are going to be like, oh, that was real. And then they talked me out of it. So
yeah,
I think we'll be seeing the fruit of that as the months play out.
And I gave an example yesterday when we were doing a Periscope of my own therapist when I went and saw him after ScoMo said that. I said, did you watch the speech? And yeah, it included ritual abuse in it. And it dawned on the therapist. And by the end of the session, he's going, what? And he said, I'm going to be including that, what the Prime Minister said in every report to the Attorney General's Victim Services Department. When he says, when I have to write reports on victims of ritual abuse, I'm going to say, Johnny reported ritual abuse as substantiated by the Australian Prime Minister on the 22nd of October, blah, blah, blah. He says, I'm putting that in every report because the history behind it is this whole notion that ritual abuse exists within and it's institutional was completely discredited by the work of the Wood Royal Commission, which was a statewide Royal Commission within New South Wales in the mid-90s. and Alexander Downer was behind that cover-up.
Yeah.
He instigated a lot of that.
Well, yeah, Alexander Downer is about to be in a world of shit, just with the FISA-gate, because he's the one implicated from Australia in FISA-gate. Alexander Downer, yesterday we figured out, he was the one behind the Wood Royal Commission.
Yeah.
So this guy is a Clinton Foundation rent boy. He's doing Hillary's dirty work.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Alexander Downer, you piece of filth.
I also want to talk about the PM's speech. We were blown away when we heard it. It was incredibly moving. It was more than I ever expected him to say. It will change the way that Australia does therapy, the way that they do child protection services, the way that civil services take care of victims and actually process sexual assault statements.
Kappy helped with all of that. There's a lot of stuff went behind the scenes, and Kappy was instrumental in all of that. So, and yeah, it's going to, this is why, because people go, oh, is it such a big deal? You know, and understandably everyone goes, oh, arrest everyone, arrest. Well, you can't just do that. You have to be reasonable here. What are we going to do? You know, well, let's all go take cameras and have a look at Pine Gap and what's there and see all the trafficking and the kids in holding cells and stuff. You know, you can't do that. And the concern is, and it'll be similar in America, that you're going to undermine the public's confidence in the government, and you'll have riots in the streets. Like, really, that's the reality. If everyone were to realise what I witnessed as a kid, they would faint, be throwing up, people would be having heart attacks, they'd all go into shock, the whole nation would shut down. So how do you deal with this sort of stuff? So all I did was ask for 2 words: ritual abuse, because I knew how significant that was. And by 2 words, ritual abuse, being introduced, that has, you know, brought credibility to victims and their therapists. And see, the knock-on effect of removing those words and being able to use them and embracing the false memory foundation bullshit that was introduced by pedophiles, right? And there's no research basis for any of it. The knock-on effect was now at dirty, filthy, pro-pedophile universities like Bond University on the Gold Coast, and I got into trouble in class for defending victims, they're all holding this pro-pedophile stance that started with the Wood Royal Commission in the mid-90s. And the message the Wood Royal Commission gave to therapists and universities and psychologists and psychiatrists across the country was, don't you dare work with victims, because you will be implanting false memories. It's all your fault if they remember something.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is the worst part about. So you got these victims, and then whenever they try to do anything proactive, it's just, you know, they're just attacked, they're vilified, their lives are destroyed, their livelihoods are destroyed, everything. It's just like, you know, at some point the madness has got to end. You know,
it's horrendous.
It's like, we're over this stuff.
And you've got dirty, filthy doctors like Warwick Middleton from Brisbane, from Belmont Hospital, specialises in DID. He's one of his clients, his patients came to me, why are you attacking Warwick Middleton? He's you know, he doesn't agree with what he said 30 years ago. Well, what he said 30 years ago in support of this false memory foundation stuff, he's done the damage. He needs to, like, apologise publicly for it.
He needs to come clean about it, yes.
He needs to come clean about it all, but he said that people who said they've got memories of ritual abuse, well, that's a metaphor for incest, right? Now, I had my own psychiatrist, well, he wasn't mine, but he was a piece of shit in charge of Gold Coast Hospital in the early 90s, Dr. Flanagan, wrote that in my hospital file in 1991, right? That, Fiona's, you know, I can't remember, something, it was all scribbled. The satanic ritual abuse is a metaphor, her memories of satanic ritual abuse is a metaphor for incest. So thanks, Warwick Middleton, for screwing up my medical help when I started having flashbacks after my step-grandfather was found hanged to death by the Colts in his backyard, you know. So no, Warwick Middleton, people have committed suicide thanks to you, Warwick Middleton, and what you said all those years ago. And there's a piece of filth journalist, right, who wrote a hit piece on me in the Australian newspaper late last year, right, who worked in with Warwick Middleton. So, and he's still writing, he wrote that piece for Warwick Middleton 30 years ago, and he's still writing it about victims of ritual abuse and still attacking us all. And, you know, so Warwick Middleton's just a piece of filth.
Let's talk about the impact that this is going to have on Australia's society. Do you think that the citizens have caught up to what's really going on, how important this is?
No, not at all. There's some awoke people following us, but you know, mainstream media, they're
implicated.
Yeah, and what we noticed, the response from mainstream media was to publish a whole bunch of pro-pedophilia stuff, like that terrible article that appeared in Rupert Murdoch Press, which was basically an advertisement to go and have sex with children overseas. You know, they're talking about how good it is that these girls basically earned way more, you know, having sex. It was, you know, with adults. It's just terrible. So you can see them freaking out in response to
that's directly in response.
Directly in response to ScoMo.
We're like,
mentioning ritual abuse. Yeah. See, there's a ban on mainstream media mentioning me over here. The journalists.
I'm sure there is.
Oh yeah, sure. I've been told. The journalists have told me. So I find it interesting how none of them reported. Well, especially not ABC, which is Australian Broadcasting Commission. That's our federally funded, you know, media outlet that needs to be shut down because it's completely infiltrated by pedophiles, and they're extreme left. And you know, one of their people who worked high up in ABC also was high up in the OTO in Australia, and she put out a brochure where she told the members to stop sacrificing animals in public because it's not a good look for them. So yeah, that's ABC, and they're the ones who slagged me off and attacked me and sent a big message far and wide to all other media outlets in Australia not to touch my story, and they just hammered me and then put a little 1-sentence retraction apology kind of thing. Buried it somewhere on one of their sites, so didn't have
after the damage has been done. Yeah.
Oh, the damage of the whole show, which, you know, they're supposed to. Media Watch is supposed to, and the guy who runs Media Watch, that piece of filth, he's British intelligence, and so he did this terrible hit piece on me, and just full of lies, and instead of covering the press conference and the media's coverage of my story, they just attacked me, the child abuse victim. They just ripped me apart, which is completely unethical. And so anyway, and not the purpose of the whole show, you know. So that's why I had all over my media backgrounds, you know, Axe, the pedo run ABC. So they completely omitted from any of their reporting the words ritual abuse. But other organisations, like The Guardian and whatever, printed the entire speech and included ritual abuse in there. So the ABC completely got rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it seems like an inquiry into the ABC should happen. If it's quite honest, I'm a little bit frustrated at there could be some things happening. Like I don't know.
I know. Yeah, I get it. Where everybody's frustrated already.
I think we all feel that way to a large degree.
Whatever. You know, you've got this Luciferian left have taken control. They're making their move. They're coming out of the woodwork. They're bragging about being Luciferian.
Bragging. Like if we're seeing
that Sabrina show, the new Sabrina show, the billboards for that, there's 2 big billboard advertisements, and one is she's in the middle of a pentagram lying down, like they would sacrifice someone in the middle of a pentagram like that and stab him.
Yeah, and in LA, like their giant Stranger Things billboard, like, oh, that's a satanic ritual right there.
Yeah,
they're just so brazen.
So cute pentagram. And the other ad is a Baphomet. She's wearing Baphomet horns, you know, which is the transgender, you know, beast.
So we know that several good things have happened. We know that the PM's speech is going to open a lot of doors. It's going to open a lot of people's minds, but it can't be denied. Ritual sexual abuse cannot be denied. Have you guys seen the story of those 2 little girls in the Florida school that were waiting in the bathroom with butcher knives, scissors.
Oh,
yeah.
They wanted to slaughter 15 of their classmates in the bathroom and then eat their flesh.
Where do they see? That's the thing. Like, where do they come up with this crap? You know what I mean?
Well,
They're being
Luciferian
influenced.
abuse.
Yeah, maybe they're abused. And I'm just like, they're just like, oh yeah, let's just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Like, why?
Meanwhile-
Do something, man.
Meanwhile, David Schroeder's his brain's being fried by something, whatever they're turning on him, those Jew weapon things. And then, meanwhile, Vegan Mikey's under attack. And meanwhile, Robert, who outed Auburn, I think the town, he's under attack. Meanwhile, people being killed, and it's all going on while we wait for something to happen and while we be patient. It's all very well to be patient, but meanwhile, kids are being trafficked over the Arizona border, and it's all still happening, and kids are being murdered. And this Halloween, kids are still going to be ritually abused and murdered.
And as we speak, children are being prepared and ritualized right now in preparation for Halloween.
Yeah.
They're being kidnapped, and their numbers, the kidnappings increase exponentially around Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
Halloween's a very tough time for
Everyone's
survivors.
gone nuts. Everyone I know, there's agitation in the air.
Well,
And
can't you guys feel it in the air? There's something happening. There's something. I mean, the fight between good and evil is so strong right now, but we're seeing people stand up like never before. These are good movements. These are good strides to take, but you're right. We shouldn't just sit back and wait for something to happen.
Well, we're not. I mean, clearly I'm not waiting for something to happen.
Right.
I'm just like, well, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. Everyone else is just like, come on.
It's like the Luciferian left are making their move and rioting in the streets, just as Karl Marx, told them to. And that's the doctrine that motivates the left.
Yeah.
Marxism, communist, Marxist,
Well, and
Luciferian doctrine.
the sad part about that is most of the people who are out there, vomiting this stuff, don't even have any historical context for what went down under that.
All their policies are determined by Marxist Luciferian doctrine.
Yeah.
Well, this is why the NPC meme is so powerful. It's like, you guys are literally just regurgitating what satanic pedophiles tell you. You're a disgrace, and you're not thinking for yourself. You're just like, orange man bad, orange man bad. It's like, and then you ask them like, okay, like why? What don't you like about Trump? Oh, he's a racist. I'm like, all right, well, how do you explain this picture of his black girlfriend in the 90s? Or I'm just like, or here's he's getting an award from NAACP. Like, and it's like they get mad at you. The cognitive dissonance, and they're
brainwashed. They're brainwashed. A lot of the shit they learn at universities, you have to go and study a course to know how infiltrated. In my law course, it was in my education studies, it was in psychology, right? The Marxist crap. And so what they then do is they've got these young girls on campus in Australia, 18, 19, 20 years of age, and they've just brainwashed them through these university courses. And then they go, hey, we're going to go march for women's rights.
Like what? Yeah. Like,
so they go march against Trump in the streets of Australia, like morons. Yeah. And I'm there and I'm saying, why don't you march against child sex trafficking? Why don't you march against the 54,000 breaches of anti-child sex trafficking, legislation that were committed by our Federal Commonwealth Bank of Australia? Well, they watch television. Throw out your televisions.
Yes.
Your televisions are brainwashing you.
Yes.
Throw it out. You will find that your brain changes and you wake up.
Yes.
Chuck your tellies in the bin.
Yep. Yeah. Tell a vision. You're being told a vision.
Television programming.
That's good, guys. That really is good. I mean, we've known that for a long time, but I never really thought about it that way, Isaac. I appreciate you saying that.
Ty, what did you say?
I appreciate that you said that, because it's you don't think about it. Tell a vision, that it is telling us what to see, what to think, what to do. Yeah. We know that, but the word is so indicative of that too. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: the MK Ultra scripting, we're all being influenced by it. It's like, and that's why things like Facebook, Twitter, they're trying to dictate what's real. We know they're liars, and then they kick me off Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh yeah, no, Isaac can't. No, we don't want him talking. It's like, it's so blatant.
But people who threaten to shoot Trump are allowed to stay on Twitter.
Right. Death threats against the president. Yeah, that's fine. Isaac
calling a shill out.
Yeah.
Who has been proven from documentation in a Huffington Post article that published that story.
I don't even want to say that guy's name. But
no, we're not.
There's so many bad actors within the so-called truth community. They're disgusting. They're like they're lower than pedophiles to me. They're protecting pedophiles and attacking victims and whistleblowers, and it makes my blood boil. And
they're taking all the money.
And taking all the money.
That the victims need themselves.
Yeah.
All the victims I know are poor and struggling. You know the depth of the corruption behind these so-called child abuse advocates in America. It is so deep.
We got Podesta at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yeah.
Still, to this day.
They really have. They've rigged the system in their favor because there is nothing more reprehensible and disgusting and demonic and satanic than putting your hands on a child and hurting them. I believe that once you start that is the point of no return, that there is no redemption for you if you hurt a child in that manner. I believe that the Bible talks about being given over to a reprobate mind, and I believe that's what comes of child abuse and ritual sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Having said that, these people are psychopaths, sociopaths. And I was listening to Bombard's body language. I love this woman, and she did a really good video on you, Fiona. She talked about how you were telling the truth. She could tell by your body language that you were telling the truth. She talks about the reason these people, these sociopaths and psychopaths, act the way they do. For instance, let's talk about Bill Clinton at Aretha Franklin's funeral, watching Ariana Grande like she's what's on the menu, right?
Groped at a funeral. A political funeral. Google-eyed by Clinton. The one thing we will go over is this is acceptable behavior by these people. That is why you looking at it and seeing things inappropriately, they don't get it until afterwards, because in their minds, like a belief system, this is acceptable behavior.
At a funeral. Also, when the bishop got up there and got a handful of what Ariana Grande had under her dress, not only was that completely inappropriate, but he wasn't bothered by his actions, and she was trying to get away from this guy. So what we can tell by this behavior is, even though they're on television and they're in front of millions of people, this is their belief system. They are not bothered. They have no morality. They have no conscience. They are psychopaths. And the only time that they pull back from this behavior is when people like us go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
They've gotten away with it. They're above the law. Yes. They know it. They're above the law, and they know they're just going to get let off by some Freemason pedo judge when they go before the courts, or when the cops turn up. The cops are all Freemasons and working for the man, and they're going to get off, and they get off time and time. And look at all the Royal Commissions we've had. We've got one current now, the Federal Royal Commission into Child Abuse in Australia, and that's all a whitewash and a cover up. There's been no mention of the VIP politicians who are, receiving trafficked children and having sex with them, at pedo orgies at Parliament House or whatever has happened in the past. No one's mentioned that stuff. I went before the Royal Commission, and that they haven't brought that stuff up. So, they are getting away with it. They're still getting away with it today. And they'll get away with it tomorrow if people don't start helping us with this battle.
He talked about in his speech coming up with a couple of new bureaucracies that would kind of be in charge of helping to uncover and get to the bottom of that. What are your thoughts on that?
I had suggested in the background, you've got to start a legitimate organisation to replace the fake ones out there, like Bravehearts, which is just bullshit in Australia. Right. And that chick destroyed Sarah Monahan's a famous child actor in Australia, and Bravehearts tried to destroy her legal case against this famous TV personality over here that abused her on set with the knowledge of everyone on set. And you know, so this is their job. They do little things around the place. They get millions in federal funding, in government funding, and then they just wait for the big fry to come on, anyone who's been a witness to VIP pedophilia, and they shut them down.
Yeah.
All right? That's what those advocacy groups are for.
That's exactly. And we have the same thing in the United States. You know who they are. We have the documentation. You know, they go after legitimate victims and whistleblowers. They're scum. I can't take it. You know, it sucks. And then meanwhile, you know, I'm off Twitter now. They're like, oh yeah, you don't deserve to have freedom of speech anymore.
Yeah.
Let us selectively enforce some stuff to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Right.
And make up rumors about you.
Oh, I can't.
Fiona, did you, whenever you heard ScoMo's speech, I didn't hear any fingers pointing at government officials in Australia. Did that bother you?
No, that was left out. I imagine the speech had already been prepared long ago before I asked for 2 words ritual abuse. I didn't ask for the naming of the, by the time I did say something, well, if I don't, it was on the day, if I don't hear this and if I don't hear reference to, you know, these parliamentary, you know, pedos and whatever, then I'm not going to believe it. But it was too late by then. But I just asked for 2 things and I got that. I'd asked for just ritual abuse, 2 words.
I mean, I think if they just unseal that Wood Royal Commission, we'll learn a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
There was another speech, because we watched that one last night, but it looked like there was another one that I was watching today while I was at work, where he did talk about government agencies as being involved.
Was it ScoMo?
It was ScoMo, yeah. He was holding, it looked like he was holding the hand of what I only assumed was a survivor, and then she was holding somebody else's hand, and he was talking about a lot of the same stuff that he did during the speech. But he did bring up that there were government organizations that.
Well, apparently, he apparently what we've found out is that he was severely red-pilled by all of that, and like talking to the survivors afterwards at Parliament House. He cancelled question time so he could spend more time with victims.
I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed that I didn't hear sort of any finger pointing at government, you know, the government being involved. But I will say he said way more than I ever thought he would.
It was certainly better than the speech by the leader of the opposition, who's a rapist. So Bill Shorten, the leader of the opposition, he's a Jesuit, and he's a rapist who went to court over. He got off on a technicality because his victim, when he was in the Junior Labor Party, which is our leftist party, she lubricated during his rape of her, and therefore she wanted it. So who wants that piece of filth? I don't want that rapist piece of shit running our country. So what option do we have, you know? And yet I've got a current Prime Minister who, he may not be in the denomination I like, which is like a Pentecostal denomination, but, you know, he's given victims more than any other Prime Minister has given us, you know? So who should we vote for now? He's just proven himself more than anyone else. We've got Bill Shorten, the rapist, and in his speech, he talked about it being a day of conflicting emotions. Conflicting emotions for you rapist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What a weirdo. So piss him off. You know, wait till I get my little free Make a Meme app and start targeting Bill Shorten, the
Oh, good
rapist.
Lord. That's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
You don't want Fiona to get on that meme maker. Uh-oh. Like $600 psyops.
No,
That's all you need.
That's $0.
Well, the $600 computer.
Oh, the computer's now
And
worth about
Fiona
$6.
and Kappy together.
Yeah. Major psyops. Alexander Downer, we're coming for you. You know, open up the Wood Royal Commission and have a look into what's in those files.
Well,
yeah,
it's bad. Well, here's what's going to happen. Eventually, I'm told that the FISA will get declassified, right? So that, I mean, I guess that was whatever. Eventually, it's going to happen. Downer's implicated. It's going to be just a shit show.
Yeah, and what about Downer is suddenly tweeting pro-Trump tweets?
And see that. I'm just like, this
Oh,
guy.
that's because his feet are being held to the fire, and he knows it.
Well, yeah, but it's like, dude, we know.
Yeah.
Go on and have
Yeah.
a look at my memes of Downer, where he's wearing a stocking and a woman's high heel shoe. So I'm just going to use that as a background for all my tweets, all my memes. You know, one of them was, you know, can you believe that this guy would, you know, rape a 17-year-old, drug and rape a 17-year-old for 3 days in Byron Bay? You know, looks like it. You know, it's just so sleazy looking. And then another one, you know, open up the Wood Royal Commission files and see what Alexander Downer covered up. One thing is, Bill Heffernan is a former senator in Australia who's retired now. He got up, and you can see this at the start of my Candy Girl amateur documentary that, you know, that's all over my sites. And Bill Heffernan got up and said, under parliamentary privilege, there, you know, this is a police document. I've got a list of pedophiles, and there's a former Prime Minister's name on this list. Now, I don't know why the gutless tosser didn't just name them. He was under parliamentary privilege. He could have done what he wants without any recourse.
Bill Heffernan, who is pushing for the Child Abuse Royal Commission to include the legal profession, told an explosive Senate hearing he has a police list of 28 prominent suspects.
There's a former Prime Minister on this list, and it is a police document.
And now I'd like to introduce to you Fiona Barnett, that's B-A-R-N-E-T-T, who is one of the bravest people you will ever have the privilege to meet.
Throughout my childhood, I was a victim of Australia's VIP child sex trafficking.
He chickened out and then left me to give a press conference supporting him, saying, well, yeah, I've witnessed 3 prime ministers involved in pedophilia. Okay, 2 of them assaulted me. One didn't. One likes little boys and dead little boys, and that was Keating. So, you know, I named Whitlam and Hawke. I've named everyone everywhere. Other people have come forward, named other prime ministers, right? Robert Menzies being one of them and whatever. So why doesn't anybody, you know, ScoMo needs to just go and grab that particular document and read it out in Parliament. Read it out, because I reckon probably Bob Hawke's name's on that one of my rapists. Really, you know, we need to really open up Wood Royal Commission files. That has the whole shitstorm packaged up in those files.
That's the goal. The goal is total transparency into the Wood Royal Commission's everything they've got, everything that they've got.
Yeah, but the whole thing is they have to decide, well, who's going to be the fall guy in this, because Downer's in that. It implicates ASIO, which is, you know, linked to the CIA. It implicates, you know, all the judges, you know, the top judges. You got Justice Kirby, Justice Lionel Murphy, the ones who changed all the laws in Australia that benefit perpetrators and disadvantaged victims. You know, the whole show's in there. So who are the, you know, and Hillsong Church is in there. And you know, so ScoMo's got to be brave and throw Hillsong under the bus.
Yes, yes. The truth has to come out no matter how difficult, and really no matter how many ties he may or may not have to them. It would unite a base in Australia that probably does not trust him because they don't trust the government. And it would also open people's eyes.
So, our governments in the West have been corrupted as long as any of us have been alive, you know.
CIA.
Sure.
CIA have bases here. CIA have a base at Pine Gap, a facility underneath Holsworthy Army Base, and a facility which is Ansto nuclear reactor at Lucas Heights, which is a 20-story underground facility. Pine Gap's about 25 stories underground, and Holsworthy is about 7 stories underground. And they're all CIA facilities. And the federal police know that. Someone was talking to a mate of mine, David Armstrong was talking to a federal cop, and they're talking about, deep state stuff and whatever, and who's, the CIA. And Dave turned around and said to this guy, you mean Ansto at Lucas Heights, Holsworthy and Pine Gap? And this federal officer nearly fell over and said, wow, you do know your stuff. Whatever. So it's there. We all know that these are the bases that the CIA have been, holding trafficked children at and doing their weird-ass military research at,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the CIA is so moral that they would stop at child trafficking.
Right. Right. Like they would stop at anything, really. Well, so that's a lot of bitter, but let's talk about the sweet, because there has been a lot of good things that have happened just recently as far as the truth movement. I mean, obviously the friction means that something is happening. Kappy, you got banned from Twitter because you were over the mark. I was told that you had many, many, many private DMs of victims that are just now gone.
Oh yeah, Jack is covering up next day crime. All of big tech is highly implicated in covering up really major crimes. You know, just like mainstream media is. You know, people reach out to me privately. They're like, "Oh yeah, I work in Hollywood. I love what you're doing." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're not saying anything."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh yeah, I'm like,
They'll leave it to everyday regular people, you know, and someone like you, Kappy, and someone like Fiona to come out and say the dirt and to talk about what's really happening. But I do see some good things. So what should we be looking forward to? What do you guys think might be around the corner that's you know, could be bright as sunshine?
Well, I don't think we're going to see anything decent until after midterms, unfortunately. At least on the USA side. Here, I think there's a lot of movement happening here. I feel pretty good about what's happening here. You know, and I'm sure, well,
ScoMo's in for another 9 months.
Yeah,
and we've got 9 months to make a difference.
Got
9 months to get behind him and push for him to do something major, open up, you know, Wood Royal Commission, open up the South Australia similar scandal down there, open up the Queensland incident involving one of the detention centres and the rape of a 14-year-old Indigenous girl in custody. You know, he needs to, you know, open some of this crap up, because, you know, there are politicians from both sides that are involved in trafficking and whatever, but I tell you what, it's mainly the Labor Party, which is our commie party over here. It's mainly them with the history, you know, because that's their doctrine. That's the Luciferian communist Marxist doctrine is pedophilia. Yeah. That's what is behind it, and behind all the secret organisations over here, and you know. So he needs to have the guts to open some of this stuff up, or you know what? All hell will break loose. The Luciferians will continue to come out. You know, they'll continue to take children off low-income, struggling families who don't have a voice because they haven't got the money to pay for a voice in the form of a barrister. It's just going to get worse.
This actually touches upon a very important tenet of how these people stay in power. They want as many poor people as possible, and then they buy their kids. And I said it before, I said it again, that's how Hollywood works, right? You got these casting directors who are like, the parents sell their kids. They're like, great, do whatever you want, give us money. You know, and the economics of it, you know, and that goes all the way to the Federal Reserve. You get rid of the Federal Reserve, you get rid of the Rothschild system. That's what's needed to really affect permanent change.
In Australia, my sister-in-law, who worked as a journalist, and she does other stuff now, but she did a big story on vaccination, and all the rich people who lived on the North Shore of Sydney didn't vaccinate. It's all the poor people who got all this money from the government for vaccinating. You know, these are the kids, these are the ones they target. They just give them social welfare payments, and then they can do whatever they want with their kids. You know, be it trafficking, targeting them, throw them in daycare. They gave through all this money, free daycare for poor people. What happens in daycare? Your kids get trafficked.
Yeah.
Most daycare centres, kids are being ritually
abused. I'm just tired of this crap.
Yeah,
people are lazy. People don't want their comfort zone trespassed. You know, they want their beer and their cigarettes and their computer games and their football and their sex, drugs and rock and roll, and don't touch that. They want their new cars and they want their toys and whatever. Don't touch that. People don't care until it happens to them, and some people don't even care when it happens to their own kids. It's when, you know, they'll even just give up their kids and throw them to the wolves just so they don't get threatened anymore. Right? This is what people do. They're cowards. And what does the Bible say in Revelation? Cowards are going to be thrown into hell along with the pedos. Yeah. The last chapter of the Bible says that. Cowards chucked in hell. You know, Jesus will vomit out the lukewarm. You're hot or cold on this issue.
Yeah, where do we go from here? So ScoMo had this amazing child abuse apology speech that he gave to all of Australia, and it was intense. It was powerful. Where do we go from here? We see movements in our country, in your country. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's had a big impact on America too, because I think ScoMo is the first world leader who's ever acknowledged ritual abuse, the existence of ritual abuse within institutional settings or any setting, in homes and whatever. So that's had a big impact over there. What do? We need to keep that alive, that message, ritual abuse. People need to spread that. Don't let that die. Don't let the mainstream media drown that out. Next, I mean, we all know how the shit show ends in Revelation, and we can't put that off. We can't stop that.
Right.
We can only rescue people and put them aside for preservation. So that's my job, is to get the message out there, and people get to make a decision in their own hearts and minds as to which way they want to fall. Because there's only two choices: pedophilia, or or outing pedophilia.
Look, the media is the problem. They are the problem. We know they're implicated. You got Jake Tapper, his wife, saying her favorite restaurant is Jimmy's freaking Comet Ping Pong, Jimmy Comet. Like, look, we know what's up. We know the media lies. We know that Mark Thompson, the CEO of New York Times, covered up for Jimmy Savile while he was at BBC. What is he doing in New York Times? Same thing. Like, I'm just tired of having the same conversation. Meanwhile, like, the normie NPCs are just like, if the media would just get off their ass, this would be solved in a month. Easy.
Yes.
And like, I think people are too concerned about hurting people's feelings. Like, you know what? That's how we grow. We get our feelings hurt. Like, great, hurt their feelings. Like, let them see the truth, and let's solve this. It would take no time at all.
Yeah.
Kappy, let's talk about social media. There's been a big storm in social media lately. How do we proceed forward? What advice could you give us on moving forward with this in social media?
Well, I mean, look, the admin has to step in at some point and be like, look, you're basically acting as a propaganda arm of the DNC and the commie pedophile deep state. Like, this isn't cool. They need to do something. Like, this isn't cool, because it's not cool. The people on the left were like, you better bake that dick cake, you bigots, or else you're going out of business. And it's like, all right, okay. But then, like, you turn the table like, well, shouldn't I have my freedom of speech? No. We got to get rid of you. That's bad. You're a bad guy. You're saying stuff that we don't want to think about. It's bad. Get him off.
Yeah.
There's just no equivalency. I'm like, guys, in America, it's the First Amendment, the literal first one, free speech. So if you're an American company violating the spirit of the Constitution, what do we do with that? There has to be. And I mean, anyone that read the WikiLeaks, the DNC leaks, the Podesta leaks, the level. People are like, Russian collusion, that's a joke. What about Google collusion? What about Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook collusion? What about Twitter collusion with Al-Walid and, Jack, the freaking he's a Luciferian, like, obviously.
And a bigger issue, what about China collusion and Feinstein's
China, exactly. What about Facebook selling us to China with, it's bad. And again, it seems to me like before an election would be a decent time to bring this up. I don't know what they're doing. I don't even speculate anymore. It's like, oh, whatever. But at some point, it's gonna break, right?
Well, I'm hoping November's a good month.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I feel it. It's coming. I've been feeling it for the last couple months. Something is. I mean, like Fiona, like you said, it's coming.
Building up. You can feel the atmosphere thickening.
Yes.
With whatever the heck is on its way, and people, in terms of what to do on everyday basis with social media, it's our only platform. people need to block the trolls and report them. Report the false. This is very effective. Report the fake sites. Report the fake identities. Block them all, gang up on them, and do what they do to us. Get rid.
It's indicative of the broader system and how it abuses people that tell the truth, and the victims and whistleblowers.
It's up to the public. Do they want us on social media or don't they? Because we don't care. I'll go look after my chickens and my veggie patch. You think I want to do this shit? This is horrible, right?
Yeah, it is. And what we do is light compared to what you guys do. And it's horrible for us too sometimes.
I can imagine.
So people have to decide, what do they want? Decide what you want. If you want us to talk still and share with you the wealth of information we've gathered, we'll do something about the social media shills and trolls.
That won't be in the interview. I'm going to chop it up and,
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll make it real pretty.
All right.
Well,
do we have enough? Because I'm kind of getting hungry and
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So let me do the outro, and
Sure.
I'll thank you guys for joining us, and then you guys are free. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you so much for doing this. Guys, we want to thank you so much for giving your time to us today. I want you to know that we believe you, we hear you. We are going to listen to the words that you've spoken to us, and we're going to use that as wisdom, and we're going to try to carry the torch with you, sometimes for you when you feel like you can't do it anymore. And I want to thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Love you guys. Y'all take care of yourselves and have fun in Australia.
Have a good morning.
Australia.
Australia.
You call that a knife?
This is better than a knife in my house.
Nice.
You guys go have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you guys. Thank you.
Bye,
I'll
guys.
talk to you soon. Thanks, Kappy.
Thank you. See you later.
Because
Yeah,
you're
sure.
like, because light's here.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, what might be better if we angle this couch just a little bit.
Happy Kappy.
Sorry.
Well, let's